Welcome back. I'm visiting here today with Henry Wong. He's a venture capitalist here in Silicon Valley and the founder of Diamond Tech Ventures. Welcome to today's show.
Thank you, Helen.
Now, you've done a lot in your career, but so for the listeners, can you bring us through, the companies that you started, the venture funds, and bring us up to today of the inspiration for Diamond?
Okay, let me summarize that in less than 60 seconds. I would say I worked for 4 Fortune 100 companies after I graduated from University of Utah in Salt Lake City. Go Utes!
Oh,
And then I got the inspiration that I need to start a company. And after the other, I started 5 different companies, all successful. Some are funded by Kleiner Perkins, Sequoia, and so on. And some are funded by Citibank Venture, and it's quite famous. They all exited well. Some went IPO, some got acquired. Then I was invited to join a venture fund that was the family fortune of President Lee of Taiwan, and that was Crystal Venture. And then at the same time, after that, I started my own Diamond Tech Ventures, and also I moved into the compound of Garage Technology Venture, which was started by Guy Kawasaki, the Apple evangelist for Steve Jobs. And Garage was seriously the garage, from garage to IPO. And I have a really good time there, learn a lot, work with them, and there's some interesting investment that I can elaborate later on. And then now here I am starting more companies. I have a big dream working with a land developer in a unknown city in Silicon Valley, getting the legals done right now. And hopefully that location can house 1,600 new entrepreneurs who will be taking daily dosage from me and being healthy and come out and change the world, per se.
well, it's amazing, Henry, the career you have. Now, if I recall, you have a degree, a PhD?
No, MBA.
MBA?
I didn't finish my PhD.
Oh, okay. But it was, obviously you hit the ground running, starting multiple companies and then helping to create new companies. And so when you look at the landscape, the tenure of your career, how has Silicon Valley changed since you first started versus where it is today?
Changed quite a bit. I'll comment on the latest greatest when people start honging me. I don't feel like they are Californians.
Oh.
They're foreigners coming from every different city. So Silicon Valley used to be the prunia, the apple, the apricot. Things are very mellow, and people work hard, and they pretty courteous. And nowadays, a lot of people are brand new coming in town, pushing the horn and trying to hurry from one place to the other. Traffic is becoming horrendous. It's like the .com traffic, if you remember .com. From one end of the city to the other, it takes over an hour. From San Jose to San Francisco, including parking, is 2.5 hours now.
Yeah, I remember when I first came into the Valley in 1984 that 237 was a parking lot, going from Lockheed all the way up to 880. And
right.
We're getting close back to that stage,
back
aren't we?
to traffic jam time.
So, moving into inspiration for Diamond Tech Ventures, what drove you to create a new fund? It's obviously you're not afraid of new frontiers, but were you focusing on a specific type of investment?
In the year after 2002, after SARS, which is the deadly virus disease, and China is growing like 15-18% a year. The published numbers was a lot lower, but certainly if you know what you're looking at, you can add it up. There's a saying that the water rise, boat rise. So if you are investing into an economy that is going like crazy, you will benefit from it if you at least choose the right angle to invest. So I found something that I really like, and I believe in my judgment, and I benefited from it. Yeah. So
Okay, I'm visiting here today with Henry Wong. He is the founder of Diamond Tech Ventures. And Henry, I need to take a quick break. And when we get back, I'm going to run through a series of questions to talk about the aspiring entrepreneur who's looking to get funded, what works, what doesn't.
Okay.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Grandpa, can we do chemistry? Papa, Daddy. Grandpa, let's do something fun.
We'll help you stay organized so you can focus on what really matters in life. Give us a call today and see how we can help you start saving taxes. Welcome back. I'm visiting here today with Henry Wong. He is the founder of Diamond Tech Ventures. And Henry, in the first segment, we talked about the history, and you did multiple companies, IPOs, underneath other venture capitalists. Then you worked for the venture capital arm of the president of Taiwan, and then you started out to do your own venture in Diamond Tech, which had a lot of influence in companies coming out of China. Over the years, you've seen a lot of entrepreneurs, things that work, things that don't. Person coming to you saying, Henry, I need some money. What works and what doesn't work? What's the first criteria you look at to decide, do I really want to work with this person?
Well, the front desk will stop them right there and say, could you email in your PowerPoint, your pitch deck? I think that will be the gate number one. If you don't have anything to present, or you couldn't document your ideas on paper, or you couldn't summarize your mission in 25 words, you're out of the ballgame. A lot of people say they have an idea, they want to do that, they want to come in and shoot the breeze. Excuse me, I don't have time to shoot the breeze.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're my old buddy, you want to have lunch with me, that's fine. Sometimes it's not fair, but if they don't build a friendship ahead of time, and they are in the very last minute looking for money, it just won't work. You mean you can come into my office and I write you $1 million check and then you disappear and then you fly out of town? Where am I going to catch you or call you?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, you have to build a relationship first. Yeah.
And then when the relationship is established, obviously there's a lot of choices, and these entrepreneurs a lot of them are like trying to solve a problem to blaze a new frontier. What piques your interest?
I like the word solve the problem. The problem is the need, the requirement, what the company, others out there would buy. And I would look at it in this clear, logical view. Is the product air? Without air, you're going to suffocate within minutes. Is the product water? Without water, you die in 7 days. Or would it be caviar, the fish eggs from beluga, right? So you are looking at air, water, and caviar. If it's this air, you must buy the product or you're going to go kaput. It could be a cancer drug. It could be the backbone of a network. It could be 5G, wireless. If I unplug this building block, your phone's going to go dead, things like that. So if you look at this clearly in this fashion of air, water, and caviar, which is so simple, no-brainer, you will be able to define whether the deal is a must-see or yet to be seen or later or whatever.
Now, once a decision is made to move forward with an entrepreneur in a company, is there a process you put in place requiring to hit certain benchmarks to earn the next phase of funding? And then there was what level? First of all, what level does Diamond Tech come in at? Are they seed?
We are pre-seed, seed, and prefer A.
Okay.
And lately, I have grown into multi-stage. I have other new capital coming in that wants access to more mature deals too. So we are stage agnostic. We're open.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then the entrepreneurs coming in. Then how do you know if that entrepreneur is really going to succeed? And is there a way that you can tell within the first month or so if this entrepreneur has the drive to really make this happen?
That's the key word, drive. He will be going through lots of hurdles. We'll be requesting different documents. If he couldn't hold his temper or in that kind of situation, then that would be somebody that you cannot deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, there'll be hardship ahead in front of us. and we will go through stormy weather. If you cannot stay away and be on track, then it will be difficult. And in the board meeting, you wouldn't be able to hold up, and you wouldn't be able to perform and deliver, and so on.
The future. So, bringing up to date, the companies have brought us, a lot of these technologies brought us into the cloud. Uh, we hear things in theory about quantum computing and these other things, but first of all, what do you think about quantum computing?
The future is coming in a big cycle.
And what
Remember
is
when we first started, my elder brother was the chief architect of IBM Santa Teresa Lab and in charge of our mainframe and all the architecture of it. Now we went into distributed data processing. We went into mini computers and so on. And then we finally landed in micro, and now everything go cloud up, centralized again. And then they need more computing power, parallel processing, tandem computing. We're going in cycle again, back to mainframe. The middle is the quantum supremacy, where looks like IBM's going to dominate it once and again.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's one company with a quantum computer out there, D-Wave.
Yeah, D-Wave is a very interesting example. I do not have access to their pitch deck, so I could not comment on that.
Understood, but it's a pioneer. It's a new industry, I guess. Quantum computing. I hear, and I've heard this presentation given by Steve Jurison to talk about that it deals with quantum physics and parallel universes. Now that's kind of a deep subject, isn't it? It's
in our layman language, Alan, it's far out.
Yeah.
It's beyond us right now. I don't believe that businessman has the vision on quantum physics. But on the other hand, as we continue to explore, you should be looking at it from a different opposite angle. Is the buyer, not the inventor. What does the buyer want to buy? I think that's the key. That's where business commerce is conducted. And then you look further. Who are the buyers? Millennials? No, things are moving away. I'm looking at working with Generation Z now. You say, what's Generation Z? 13 to 26, right? So I'm formulating a study group in my office for younger users who would define the future, who would say how they want it, how they want to use it. I think that is the other angle when you're looking at future technologies.
Now, Google did something very earth-shattering. They announced that they're not going to require college degrees coming on board with Google. What do you think about that?
Controversial.
Okay.
Degree is created by humans. It's only a piece of paper. Oh yes, we go through 4 years of hardship and studying and so on. But if you have guidance from a master and you put a Japanese banner on top of your head, say "win," W-I-N in kanji, okay? So it's a matter of thinking and outthinking the norm. So degree or no degree, it's not a good subject to get into.
Okay. Well, let's go a step further than this. So the 1,600 entrepreneurs coming into your campus, how would they go? How would they go about? Is there going to be a process for applying, and what type of individual or candidate is most likely to succeed at being part of that program?
End results delivered. If they can deliver a good end result, a product or services that can convince the world that they will be needed or quite needed, that will be the perfect product and services to fund.
Now, you're also managing partner or director of Garage Technology Ventures.
Yes. Garage Technology Ventures was started by Guy Kawasaki, the Steve Jobs #1 evangelist. And the Garage Fund number 1 and 2 are CalPERS Fund, Californian State Pension Fund. So we manage a small portion of that $1 billion fund. Garage Fund number 3 is a family office fund. We manage that particular fund. We're focused in software only.
And is it a lot of new VC funds are going to like the boutique level where versus what it was in the past? They'd have 500 or $1 billion. But at what level is Garage Technology Fund 3?
Fund number 3 is a smaller fund.
Okay.
Basically, family office attending to the needs of the current generations.
Why is the VC industry trending to smaller funds?
The graduates of deals, which means the founders who exited their own creation, tend to take the proceeds to form a new venture fund addressing the subject that they know best. And if they are in cloud, they want to explore more about cloud, they call it quantum computing. They must have learned or come from a mainframe background in the past of quantum physics. They like to address, they call themselves their own boss, so they can address on subject that they need. In a bigger venture firm, there's so much paperwork you won't believe. Even I sometimes go crazy, just handling the details, the K1 and all the calculation. It's just you have to outsource everything out. By the time you finish outsourcing out, there's not much profit left.
It's pretty amazing what the compliance has grown to be over the years.
It's the paperwork is choking up the process.
Well, hopefully that AI solution is coming to just streamline everything and not make it so much paper in the future.
So I hope so.
What other types of technologies you feel have a lot of interest in going in that you have a lot of interest going into today for solving problems of the future?
We continue to research on the future and also the product and services that entrepreneurs bring forth to our table. We look at quantum computing as an area of investment, but it might require a very deep pocket because it's not a small subject to attend. But along with it, the immediate areas that we look at is the security part of the computing at the edge of the cloud, and all those are required. And then you take a look at behavioral science, which is a subject that I teach in Sophia University right now every Monday night. How people make the decision, how can you change their mind or deviate their attention to push the finger over to the buy button. I think those are interesting deal flows that we encounter lately. Don't just look at hardware, but more so in software. I think that's where the future is supposed to be.
I'm going to ask you a wild question.
Yeah,
and
please.
You don't have to answer it if you don't feel like it. But okay, but
Here we go again.
So Gene Roddenberry, the Star Trek creator, years ago, he wrote several things into the scripts. He had the little communicator, and now today we have cell phones that'll essentially do the same thing.
Dick Tracy.
Yeah, Dick Tracy. But the other thing that he wrote in there was this thing about the transponder where you can move from one location to another location. Thoughts? It deals with some
I'm
quantum
glad
physics.
you asked that question.
Okay.
I actually studied that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now here's the wild answer, but don't think that, please. I'm not crazy. To transmit point A to point B, you can break down the molecules and transmit in many sense carbon-based product over from A to B. It has been proven that it can be disassembled and reassembled, which is like modulator, demodulator, change over. But the argument I have with my friends is, how do you transmit the soul, which you can't even touch or break down or calculate? It's electron, it's a wave, it's electricity. And how do you do that? I remember my father telling me that we are electrons and electricity. He's going to communicate with me one day through electricity.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't done so yet. If he did, maybe it was him, maybe it was somebody else. I don't know.
Henry, we're out of time today, though. It's ironic that you did do a little bit of research on that. And I think what it says is that we still have new frontiers to uncover.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, thanks for being with us today on the show, American Dreams. And thanks for joining us here on American Dreams. And Henry, we appreciate your giving us insight to the future and the companies and the marvelous career that you've had.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Have a great week and join us here on this station next week.